So, lab 3 for FPPD, Jaffa cakes. Jaffa cakes, are they cakes or biscuits? A non-trivial question. In a survey, most British people thought a Jaffa cake is a biscuit, which suggests they're not paying much attention to the name. It turns out this is far from being a trivial question. The image does link to a tweet about the survey as usual with images in my presentations. You obviously need the presentation for that. In 1991, a VAT tribunal considered whether they are in fact cakes or biscuits. This was rather important, as biscuits sold in the UK carry VAT at 17.5%, but cakes don't. No, I've no idea why not. Changes to texture were not the only issue considered here, but it was important to the decision made by the tribunal. Note that the name of the product was not considered relevant. As usual, we'll be using our Brookfield BT3 texture analyzers, which we will use to measure hardness by two methods. And maybe other approaches you might want to look at as well. There's a Word document now which has more details of the methods, but also some links in the presentation, and the system will be programmed to be set up already in any case. Okay, the nature of Jaffa cakes. There's a big Jaffa cake. Now that we have a chocolate tempering machine in the food lab, who knows? Jaffa cakes are 50% sugar, can be expected to have quite a long shelf life. However, once taken out of the package, including removed from the plastic wrapper, they will start to change. Best before date is a measure of quality, not safety, like used before. And the quality does change and probably decline over time. Again, the best before image there is linked to a YouTube video from the Food Standards Agency if you need a reminder of the differences. Light sponge cakes with dark crackly chocolate and a smashing orangey centre, it says on the label. Generally speaking, biscuits become softer over time while cakes become harder. This will be the basis of our experiments and the conclusions we can draw from the data. Okay, texture methods. There are two possible methods using Brookfield BT3, one for biscuits and one for cakes, so it's reasonable enough to try both and see which is the best approach. The methods will be programmed in the texture analyzer, and you can link through to more details via the images there. Note the cake method opens up as a PDF, so you may have to do a little bit more clicking to get it to open. Collecting data. There's an Excel spreadsheet which we'll have a look at in a moment. Cake or biscuits, when you've completed the experiment, you got your data, you produce a spreadsheet and look at the graphs, justify your conclusion based on the data obtained. Right, okay, so we'll start up in a second with looking at the spreadsheet. Okay, this is the Excel file we'll be using. As usual, it does quite a lot of the work. We'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so I'll put some data here. As usual, the data in red information red should be replaced with your data. You just need to put the date since the box was opened in one place here, and it will reproduce across from the rest of the spreadsheet. It's a good idea not to use numbers because that might confuse Excel a bit. Should do the samples in triplicate as usual, and it will calculate the averages down here automatically. There's a little average calculation there. Put the results in here. These are results from previous experiments. You're obviously going to need to delete these or use the blank spreadsheet on the next workbook. So there's two methods here, the cake method and the biscuit method. And the hardness cycle 1 results and the hardness cycle 2 results. So they'll be discussed a little bit in the lab while we're running the experiment. As mentioned, it will calculate the averages and it will bash out a couple of graphs. It hasn't done all the graphs. It's done the graph here for hardness cycle 1 for both the cake method and the biscuit method using the data I put in. Plot your own graphs from hardness cycle 2. Decide which is the best approach. Is it the cake method or the biscuit method? Does hardness cycle 1 or hardness cycle 2 make a difference? Okay, so that was fairly short. Hope you enjoyed the lab.